Hello, welcome back to the Byte-Sized Bhagavad Gita. I am your host, Sadhu Arts. If you're tuning in for the first time, here is a collection of simplifications of the Song of God, heavy in aspiration, I know. However, no effort is left without its due reward. And for the rest of the comments, the links below, you can find. We are up to chapter 10 here. Chapter 10. The Song of God, the Bhagavad Gita, a series of questions and answers provided by the Lord, which is an amazing revelation that takes place that is within the hearts of everybody. That's what Arjuna represents, and Krishna on the battlefield helps his dear friend. He helps his devotees especially, and is present within us all. Now, this particular predicament, chapter 10, this is the yoga of sovereignty, Vibhuti yoga, or the yoga to meditate upon the opulences of the Lord, the Absolute. Now, initially, yes, it is very difficult to meditate upon the Absolute. And that is because our minds aren't capable of grasping such a thing. Now, what I do in this series is quite simple. We just kind of have transposed once again the smaller aspects of the much larger philosophical content that takes place within this dialectic between Krishna and Arjuna. So what we have is the addressing of the Lord onto the composition and the human predicaments of the faculties of mind that are sort of present in limitation in our striving. But the Lord is graceful and merciful and very sweet. We have to understand that sweet aspect of Bhagavad Gita, of the message of Krishna. So, yeah, difficult to describe the Absolute, difficult to understand the Absolute. Krishna instantly says that I'm in your heart, okay? And being in the heart of all living beings, there is no division, there is no separation. However, there is also that aspect of the Lord that is above and beyond us. So, Hinduism, and particularly the Bhagavad Gita, I'm really in love with this aspect, how it's very poetic in aspiration. The language is colourful, and the Lord understands the strivings that the mind faces in order to understand the heart. Okay, so that's a little bit of a background as to how this particular chapter is capitulated. And it is a very natural and honest kind of aspiration to try to understand what thumbprints of the Lord may be present in nature. Many say in the West that we have to look at mathematics, and that's quite true, and our science is revealing lots of beauty and a lot of mystery. Take, for instance, the Fibonacci sequence, the fractals that are present in nature. And I think it was Da Vinci who said we have to think in terms of mathematics and number if we want to understand the Lord. However, that's having come from a religious sort of cultural context that describes the Lord, or for whatever reasons we've inherited images of the bearded white fellow in the sky. This isn't a battle of beauty and on beauty and a more, I don't know, exacting of a physical formation. And that's silenced by Islam, who said Allah does not have a physical feature and is never depicted at all. That is probably the geophysical location of which this particular capitulation takes place. In other words, it's probably more closer to what Buddhism has to say about nothingness, anatta, which is the nothingness, the voidness, the shunyata, the advaita, that there is nothing that we can actually grasp that will help us on our physical journey toward embodying our highest possibility. However, there is symbolic logic. In philosophy, it's called symbolic logic, and that is used quite frequently in many Hindu Vedic texts. Symbolic logic, which is to say, in philosophy we call that the second order of symbolic logic, and it also features an emergent quality, which is a philosophical way of saying that the symbol isn't the actual thing, but the symbol, once understood the meaning, can be disregarded. And postmodern theory, that's pretty well written about in the French exposition of Simula and Simulacrum by our good friend, is it Baudrillard? Yeah, it was Baudrillard. And so it sort of comes full circle, really. It's kind of tautologous. The predicament that faced Arjuna is that, okay, well, previously you've said that you are everything, okay, and for example, one who does not differentiate between a lump of gold and a lump of dirt, a king and a beggar, good qualities, bad qualities, luck and misfortune, that are all sort of the waving tides of being alive, being present in this universe under the watchful eyes of the Creator. If everything is part and parcel of the Supreme, and that is within our hearts, how we differentiate and celebrate and identify if that's what one wishes to do. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but in essence, what has been said is that, okay, well, let's use symbol, and the Lord turns around and says, firstly uses the symbol that are closest to the visual apparition. Within this cultural context, the Bhagavad Gita in ancient India, it says, he uses symbols of seers. I am a particular rishi. Of mantras, I am the Gayatri mantra. Of Vedas, I am the Sama Veda. Of the priests, I am Brihaspati. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of the demigods, I am Indra, so on and so forth. So these are ways from which that within that cultural time and place, epoch, perhaps if it was now it would be different, but it's not. It was then, and that was that. So there's also this aspect of demons. I am the reason behind demons. Of goodness, I am the reason behind goodness. Of gamblers' aspirations, I am the gambling fiend that places a bet. I'm also splendor, and so here we have a kind of crucifixion of the rational mind, as it were, and I'm pretty sure that the law is quite aware of that. That okay, well, we can use the mind to understand certain things, but also there are limitations. How can something be both this and that at the same time? It's a paradox, really. Yeah, of immovable objects, I am the Himalaya mountain. Of syllables, I am Om. Of animals, I am the lion. Of birds, I am the peacock. Of watery things, I am the ocean. Yeah, so there's that kind of vivification, that poetic symbol is utilized once again, but there comes this emergent property of majesty, of splendor, of significance, of grace, of essentially, and these are tools that are given to understand the unfathomable aspects of the Lord through a kind of very personal, characteristical exaltation. So then, finally, it kind of comes all full circle. Where am I getting to here? That, yeah, the beginningless, endless, eternality, very difficult concepts to grok, and that was sort of recognized by Krishna's incarnation as the Buddha, who then said it's not possible to understand at all. We shouldn't rack our minds with doing so. And that's an eternal aspect, and it's a misuse of the mind to do so. But the Gita in itself is a meditation. It's a meditation without beginning, middle, or end. The spark of my splendor is all-pervasive, and I am the conclusion that establishes truth. So for the logicians out there, it's It's real. It's I am. It's that.